most research suggests about 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, and that equates to about 3 to 4 regular strength cups of coffee. If you're having over 600 milligrams, it's like 6 cups is what you were having, that's when you get the physical symptoms. So you can have the insomnia, anxiety, palpitations, headaches, and that's when we suggest you cut down.
Now, could you apply what you've just said to tea, to Coca-Cola?
Exactly. Because it's caffeine as a component. So often people say coffee and they think that's a component, but it's actually the caffeine in it which causes the symptoms. And caffeine can be found in tea and chocolate and Coke as well.
Do you develop a kind of, I don't know what the word is, not resistance, but I think my dad's from Belgium and all they do, all they do is drink coffee all day long. And my dad must drink 5, 6, 7 coffees.
It's a tolerance because caffeine is actually the world's biggest legal psychoactive drug. So it's a stimulant. So like anything, you're going to develop a tolerance if you're having that many, and you're going to be like, to be more alert, I need more and more and more and more. That's why we suggest, obviously, to have a regular range at the same time every day if it pertains to your schedule, and try not to have it 6 hours before you want to sleep.
OK. Gareth from Durham, he may be have had himself overstimulated for a long time. He's been out because of the pandemic, out of the office. Bit worried about sitting behind a desk. A lot of people are, because they get aches and pains. They get hunched backs, they get sore necks, they get weak backs, all sorts of things like this. So Gareth says, after returning to the office after so long, are there any exercises I could do to get used to a proper desk again?
100%. Well, I think, first of all, prevention is better than cure. So if you're sitting at a desk for a long time, what you want to do is make sure your environment's comfortable. That could be like adding a back prop or a cushion to your chair if you're going to be sitting there for a long time. Also, making sure that you can get regular breaks and go for a walk and go for a bit of a stretch. But when you're looking at specific stretches, what you want to look at is the spine. Now, in medicine, we have three ways to diversify the spine. We have the cervical, thoracic, and lumbar, upper, middle, and lower. And you want to target exercises that can target that, because that can reduce neck pain, thoracic pain. So even exercises you can do in your chair, and lumbar spine exercises. So you can even stand and just straighten the back of your legs, which helps as well.
I'll tell you, my PA stands and straightens the back of her legs. She asked me to get her, for the desk, some sort of, I don't know how you describe it. Anyway, the computer goes on top of this, and this stand goes up in the air, and she stands, so it's at her level. Now, she chooses to stand like that, and she says it's of great benefit.
So some people do, and even in the workplace, there's some desks that actually change height for people to stand up. A lot of people find it easier than sitting down, which takes the pressure off the lumbar spine at times.
Does anger affect your mental health?
That is actually quite a good question. So in terms of anger and anger management, there's no specific health disease. However, anger actually can be an underlying trigger factor for a number of different mental health diseases, such as depression and anxiety. So a lot of people need to find out why they're angry and look at trigger factors. Could it be work? Could it be stress-related? Could it be somebody in your life who's specifically making you angry? Because when we look at mental health, often we look at mood. And mood is controlled by what we call neurotransmitters, chemicals in the brain. And we look at like serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin. These are the chemicals that we want to promote. And so often when we go into medical treatment of stuff like anxiety and depression, we look at SSRIs, which are drugs which actually change these chemicals. So by fixing your anger, you can actually reduce your chance of developing another mental health disorder.
But do you think sometimes anger can be good for you, in that it's a vent, as long as it's a controlled anger and a justified anger?
The anger itself isn't actually good for you, because pent-up anger actually can have physical issues down the line, so such as headaches, increased blood pressure, which obviously increases you to a number of different diseases. You can even have gut disturbances from being too angry. It's the venting of anger. So maybe take up a sport, maybe even if it's boxing or something, or hitting a pad or something like that. A lot of people take up some sort of combat sport which they can vent their anger to, or even just talking to somebody and be like, your partner, I've had a terrible day at work. Can you imagine so-and-so did this? That even sometimes can just release you. So find ways you can release your anger, and that can reduce your chance of mental illness.
On the subject of blood pressure, they call it the silent killer. Outside medication, what would you recommend as regarding reducing blood pressure? So
the main things other than medication reducing blood pressure, conservative measures such as diet and exercise, very important.
So reducing... Doctor, sorry for interrupting. If you already have blood pressure on the high end, is exercise a good idea?
Yes, exercise is still a good idea. You can do mild exercise pertaining to what your ability is, because that's always going to reduce your blood pressure. I've seen patients in the community who have been able to reduce and eventually come off blood pressure medications because they've been able to maintain it just by themselves with conservative methods. So they've reduced the salt and fats in their diet, they've reduced the red meat in their diet, they've actually started exercising, and because of this, their GP can check, is their blood pressure being maintained well enough without their medication, and then slowly taper it down and end it.
Are you asking for a friend there, Eamon? Or...
No, it does fascinate me because blood pressure affects so many people, and because it has no obvious effects, it is a killer as regards heart attacks, strokes, various things like that. And simple things that we're not aware of. For instance, if you were to eat potato crisps, which are heavily salted, they would immediately affect your blood pressure, wouldn't they?
They can. There are loads of things which can affect your blood pressure in the short term, such as you even mentioned exercise. However, it's the chronic increase of blood pressure which we look at, and the chronic increase of cholesterol, because this is what's going to put you at risk of stuff like heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, and these manifest into the symptoms that we see in the GP and A&E, and that's why they call it the silent killer, because you don't actually get the symptoms while you're eating the potato chips, while you're eating the heavy, salty foods, and while you're eating the big steaks.
Of course. And someone like yourself, do you keep yourself fit?
I try.
You're looking dreadful.
I try to.
Dear God, I nearly broke my thumb here. His bicep. I mean, is that an implant?
Stop. Stop.
Is that for real?
I try to practice what I preach, and I've always been like a big advocate for like exercise, and I have a lot of it coming out in my book and stuff. And I just feel for me, I have so many physical and mental benefits just from working out and exercising. So I encourage everyone to do the same.
How do you squeeze that in, though, when you're actually working A&E shifts and, you know, putting people back together after car crashes or whatever it is, stabbings? There you are, on your feet, high-pressure situation, and then you're taking yourself off to the gym.
You know what? It's tough, but you have to prioritize it. Even if you, like I tell people, you don't need to climb that mountain. You don't need to run to the gym and lift 100 kilos of weights. Even if it's just a 20, 30-minute HIIT exercise when I get home, before I get to bed, that even is beneficial. Sometimes I can't make it to the gym every day, and that's realistic.
Rope. That's my key.
I have a skip rope.
Yeah.
It's not. You make your goals realistic and easy for you. So depending on my shift pattern, I'll be like, okay, I can do this week, but I might not be able to do a heavy compound set this week or today. But what I can do is some crunches and some stretches after I finish my shift.